A grandmother went in for a routine surgical removal of a lesion and woke up hemorrhaging, with part of her body surgically removed that was never supposed to be touched. Not because of a complication, but because a nurse called out the wrong name and no one stopped to check. So this story is about Debra Buchanan, and she is from Melbourne, Australia. She's a former, what they call over there, a dental nurse, and I think here we call those dental assistants. In January, she went into Sunshine Hospital for a routine, simple procedure, removing a cancerous lesion in her pelvic area. So she was in the waiting room, and the nurse comes out and says, "Debra." Now, there were two Debras in the waiting room, and I have got this article pulled up here, and I want to tell you exactly how this went down. So the staff came out and said, "Debra, Deborah. And this Debra is Debra, the one that the story is about. The one that the story is about, that Debra, she questioned it. She said, "Do you mean Buchanan?" Because Debra is a very popular name. Even though it is spelled different, they're said the same. And the staff said, "Oh yes, you'll do." I would never say that. But anyway, there was another woman there in the waiting room, and she said, she spoke up too. She said, "I'm Debra." And then the nurse that came out says, "No, we have the right one." And here is something else that is quite concerning is Debra, Debra, never met her surgeon before she was put under anesthesia. When she woke up, she was hemorrhaging, and it wasn't from the removal of a lesion, which didn't happen. It was because they removed a part of her external genitalia instead. So here's what most people don't know. Hospitals have safeguards in place that are supposed to stop this thing from happening. In medicine, this is sometimes referred to as never events because it's never supposed to happen. Let me walk you through what should have happened instead. So the first step is always patient identification with two identification markers, and that is usually the name and date of birth of the patient. These are supposed to be checked against the chart every single time a staff member has an interaction with you. Not just a first name called across a waiting room. When Debra questioned the name, she was brushed off and was told, "Oh, you'll do." So when the actual Debra, the actual patient that they were calling back, stood up and identified herself, it should have triggered an immediate check. But instead, the staff proceeded with the wrong patient anyway. That is not a paperwork slip. That is ignoring a direct correction from the waiting room. The third thing that went wrong here is informed consent and site marking. So before performing any surgery, the physician is supposed to confirm with the patient awake and talking and participating. He is supposed to confirm her name, her birth date, and the site that is being operated on. And the surgeon is supposed to mark the body part. So let's say you're having a right knee replacement. The surgeon is supposed to come in, verify your name and birth date, and verify with you the correct knee and mark it right there with you before you have undergone any kind of surgery or had any medication at all, so that you can participate in making sure that when you go into that operating room that you are going to come out the way that you expect. But Debra never met her surgeon before going under anesthesia. That step, the last line of defense, does not appear to have happened in Debra's case. The fourth thing is there is a surgical timeout, and that is when everybody gets into the surgical room and somebody actually calls the timeout, and everybody stops and they go over, they verify the patient name again, patient's birth date again, what procedure is being performed, and on what body part. Now, this happens with everybody from the surgeon to the nurses, the anesthesiologist, and the surgical techs. Everybody participates in the timeout. And everyone has to agree that the correct procedure is being done on the correct patient and the correct body part. So for this to have happened to Debra, that timeout could have never happened. So this wasn't just one mistake. This was every single safeguard failing in sequence. So Debra made a statement later on that she felt the facility was understaffed. So I've said this on my channel before, and I will keep saying it. Being understaffed is not just about nurses being tired, overworked, and so forth. It's about the safety checks that get skipped because everyone is in a hurry to get something done because there's not as many staff members to get these things done. And so everything is rushed. This isn't an excuse for what happened to Debra, but it's the reason that this whole thing was even possible. So here's what you can do if you or a loved one has an upcoming procedure. So when they call you back and they usually say Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so or a first name, when you walk up, confirm with them your first name, your last name, and your date of birth. Don't just respond to a first name being called out in a waiting room full of people. Secondly, before you go under anesthesia, ask to see your surgeon. This is your right as a patient, and question that surgeon and have him point out the surgical site. And if you agree with it, then great. You can go into that procedure with confidence that the staff is not going to remove a body part that should never even be touched. Debra is now facing a second surgery for the cancer that was never treated and living with permanent life-altering harm from a mistake that 4 separate safeguards should have caught. And this is why I do these videos. It's not to scare you from having a medically necessary procedure done. It's just to make you aware and to make you aware of what your rights are and how you can protect yourself when you go in for a procedure like this. If this video helped you understand something that you did not understand before, let me know about it down in the comments. Please give us a subscribe and a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed this video, check out this one right here, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, y'all.